We're going to go over the top 5 drop spots in Fortnite Chapter 5. I'm going to show you where they're located, the overview of them, the pros and cons, how I would play it step by step, and things to consider when dropping here, and my overall rating for the drop spot. Starting off at number 1, we've got the shack in the cave. It's located on the far right of the map. It's got 7 chests in the cave and 2 in the shack. If you want to see more information, I'm going to link you Fortnite GG, and you can see everything. The floor loot, the gun spawns, ammo boxes, slurp juices. The pros, you're guaranteed shield from the slurp juices in the shack. You're going to get good loot. You're going to get good wood and brick. There's going to be less people because you're on the outer edge, and no third parties, especially if you're in the cave. The cons, it's a far rotate. There's not a lot of metal, and there's not really much mobility except for one zip line, and you need a near perfect drop. Here's how I would play it. I would land at the shack first, get my full shield from the slurp, and get some guns out of the chest, then run down to the cave, and if someone landed there, I can easily shoot them in the back. You can usually get here while they're looting the chest. If no one lands there, just get your full shield in the shack, and then make your way down. Loot the cave, rotate up, and then go up the mountain with the zip. If you brick your drop, you can try to land at the campsite up top, but usually somebody is going for that already. Here are some things to consider. Since you're on the outer edge, the zone will be far. You have to loot quick and farm the mats fast, and start moving right away. When you're coming out the cave, pay attention to your left and to your right, because someone might be waiting for you. Same thing as you're going up the mountain and the zip lines. There could be people around there trying to wait for you to come out the cave. My overall rating for this drop spot is an 8.5 out of 10. Let's go over number 2, Research Rock. The location is in the bottom right corner. There's 23 chests here. The buildings on the bottom have slurp juices in it, and then there's some in the top left corner. The pros here are guaranteed shield, lots of great loot, vending machine, great metal, good wood. There's going to be less third parties because you're on the edge of the map, and there's mobility with the bike and the zip lines. The cons, it's a far rotate, low brick, and people will drop here. Here's how I would play it. For the most part, it doesn't really matter what building you land on. I like to look for a gun up top, ideally an AR or a shotgun. If you really want to be greedy, you can go for the buildings that have the slurp juices in them. After landing and getting your gun, I like to play my side of the buildings first to make sure it's nice and safe. Try to farm mats while you're running around getting your loot. If you do get good loot, test the waters and see if the other person or the other people that have landed there are good. If you think you can take them, great, engage. If you see that they're pretty good, or if they got better things than you did, maybe it's not the best way to engage. If it's a deadlock and it's taking too long, try to grab the bike and leave with the loot that you do have. If you do get in a fight here, you're probably not going to get third party though, so you can take your time, depending on where the zone is though. Things to consider. Since you're on the outer edge, you'll have to rotate early if the zone doesn't pull your way, but not as fast as the cave. The bike and the zip lines do a pretty decent job of getting you out there quick. Someone could try to hold you at the top, but it's pretty rare. It doesn't really happen all the time. If the zone isn't too far, take your time and loot up and farm all the metal. You have multiple landing spots here. A lot of people do land. You can probably get a building for yourself or get a gun up top. Bonus, it's pretty good for duos, and there's a reboot van. My overall drop spot for this is a 9.5 out of 10. Number 3 is the underground HQ with the manhole strategy. The location is right underneath Plaza Pizza. It's right in the middle of the map with 22 chests. The pros, it's got the armory guns, and you can level up your guns. It's got good loot, good metal and brick, and there's no third parties when you're underground and you're center zone. It also has a backup spot, which is this little building here right above it. It's also got mobility with the cars, so if you can rotate anywhere you want after. The cons, there's no guaranteed slurp juice. It's low on wood, and you need a really good drop, especially for this manhole strategy I'm about to go over. Here's how I would play it. Aim right for the manhole cover and jump into it right away. This takes you to the guns and the loot the fastest. If you get something decent, chances are people are still running into the bunker, and you can get a quick elim from it. After you're safe and there's no one down there, farm all the mats, level up your guns, loot everything, and then move on from there. If you brick the manhole cover strategy, this building is your backup. Loot it and try to run underneath if you hear people fighting so you can get a quick elimination. Things to consider. If you're going for the manhole strategy, you got to practice this drop 50, 100 times to make sure you've got it timed from each angle of the bus and that you're dropping right at the lowest point before you deploy your parachute. It's important to look around and see where other people are landing near you so so that when you are done looting, you know where the closest threat is going to be. This is a high risk, high reward strategy. If you pull off the manhole play, you are guaranteed a good gun, and you're guaranteed that you're going to be pretty much safe because no one is going to be there down there faster than you. I'm going to give this drop spot an 8 out of 10. The reason I give it a little bit of a lower rating is because I'm more of a safe player, especially in solos and tournaments. It's a bit risky, but if you can pull it off, it's worth it. Number 4, we've got the yacht. The location is on the far left of the map in the water. It's got 23 chests and a vault and lots of floor spawns, plus an AI. Let's go over the pros. Lots of good loot, the vault, slurp barrels, gun spawns, and mobility. 2 launch pads, plus zip lines, and excellent metal. The cons, it's a far rotate. You're going to be low on brick and wood, and it's definitely going to be a hot drop, and you might get third-partied, especially if you're on the outside of the boat still. Here's how I would play it. Ideally, you land up top with a gun and can shoot down. If not, land on the front or the back near the vault, but do not land right in the center. You're asking to get sandwiched. Work your way from the top of the boat or pick the front or the back. If you can try and get the vault, great. If not, do not force it. The vault is a bonus. If you've got decent guns and decent loot, test the waters depending on how many people have landed there. If you see it's one person, try to see if they're good or not again and see if you can take the fight. If there's multiple people there, take your time, and we want to be the cleanup crew. If it's taking too long and there's so many people fighting and you can't get near the vault, grab what you can and launch pad the heck out of there. Things to consider. The drop is usually hot and contested. You must be able to fight off spawn and be confident. Have a plan on where you're going to land, but be ready to reroute to either side of the boat or on a different type of gun. The pace here moves quick. It's not worth dying or wasting a lot of your time for the vault. Farm what you can, hit the backup house if the boat is super hot and no one is going to the house, so you don't completely throw your game away. Grab an AR and try to get a free lick on someone who's still on the outside of the boat if you land on the house outside. I'm going to rank this one an 8/8.5 out of 10. There's lots of good loot and mobility escape options, but you need a lot of gun skill and quick thinking if you're landing there. The last one is the haunted house. The location is in the bottom mid of the map. A couple people land here, but it's not as hot as the yacht. Usually 2 to 3. There's 16 chests, and it's on the outer edge of the map. The pros, it's got good loot. It's got the vault, launch pad / zip lines, the bike, okay backup spot. It's not the best, but multiple landing spots in the haunted house. The cons, it's a far rotate, and it's low on mats. Here's how I would play the haunted house. Aim for this window. Usually no one else does this play, and it's the highest, safest percentage. Grab your floor loot and the chests on the bed. Work your way around the area by grabbing more loot and pay attention to other people fighting. Try to shoot one of them or both as they're fighting. If things get too hot, dip into the manhole and save your life. If things are going well, play it smart and safe. You don't want to be the main person fighting here. Remember, we always want to be the cleanup crew, especially in solos. If it's a 1v1, test the waters and see if the other person is good again. If you can take them, try to win and grab the vault key. If they're good and you're wasting a lot of time, you might want to swallow your pride and just launch pad out of there or take the motorcycle. Here are some things to consider. It's usually a low to moderate hot drop, so you must be able to fight off spawn, but you don't need to be cracked like if you're landing on the yacht. The zone is far, so don't get stuck down here. The backup house is an absolute last resort as it doesn't have much. I wouldn't rely on going to the backup house. However, if you do, remember, being alive is a lot better than being dead, especially if you are playing in a cash cup and you don't have games to spare. Grab the vault if you can, but if not, don't worry. Remember, it's a bonus. I'm gonna rate the haunted house an 8.5 out of 10. I like this drop the most out of all of these because it's on outer edge, so it's a bit safer, but I also have multiple landing spots, so I don't need a near perfect drop and I'm fighting for one gun. Let me know what you would like to see in the next video or what you want me to cover. Thanks for watching. See you next time.